All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the lab. We hope you guys are ready for a fun and exciting episode. The CrossFit Open is upon us, and so Dave and I are going to talk a little bit about that. We'll touch on a few different topics today, but the main thing right now is the CrossFit Open has just begun. Dave Castro has just put out his enigmatic photo about what could potentially be going on, and I think he just put out, do we know what it is yet? Did he just release it tonight?
It was a mushroom.
That's right. I'll pull it up and
It
I'll
was a mushroom head.
God dang. Um, I'll pull up Castro's Instagram and I'll show the picture. Yeah, so this is what we've shown. So you guys can all kind of see that off of his Instagram. So we'll kind of see what all happens here. Um, it looks like the story of the mushroom. There's even a video on the story of the mushroom. So if you guys want to go check that out, head over to his Instagram and you guys can go watch that and kind of see what he says. Um,
Yeah, there's got released with explanation today too at 3 o'clock, which was kind of funny.
so we don't know for sure what the workout is yet.
Oh, we do.
Oh,
They
what is
got
it?
released at 3.
Okay, I haven't seen it yet. I'll pull it up.
Um, Basically, it's 21, 21, 21, 21. It's gonna be burpees and then single arm dumbbell snatch, burpees, other arm dumbbell snatch, and then it goes 15, 15, 15, 15, 9, 9, 9, 9.
Didn't know you were German.
15-minute time cap.
Bad joke.
Well, no, no, no.
Uh,
I'm actually not doing it this year.
no, I won't be able to. I haven't been consistently training enough to think about doing the open right now. I would like to do it. I think it'd be fun. I just probably wouldn't be doing the full on RX. Um, I'll probably come here and there and do some of them, but yeah, 21 dumbbell snatches, one arm, 21 lateral burpees over dumbbell. Um,
Yep. So
21.
hence you said it was kind of like the mushroom because of how broad it was, I guess,
I gotcha. Wow, yeah, that's
with
a
like
lot.
the rep spectrum.
I like that it's not like an alternating though, at least. I mean, I remember the one year, the the dumbbell snatches plus the burpee box jump overs. That was just a mental, just horrible. That drove me nuts. I was like, oh gosh, this is gonna suck. That actually looks like a lot of fun. Maybe I'll try that one in the morning. We'll see. Um, but yeah, the Open. So the Open has a special place in my heart in the fact that it's, I think my very first CrossFit workout ever was Murph. But then I remember my very first Open was actually down in Texas, which was an absolute blast. Um, Tiger Den CrossFit had a chance to go down there. Um, had an absolute, it was so much fun with the people that I had there. And then got to do the Open up in Cleveland at Crooked River CrossFit, my second time, which was just also a lot of fun. It's cool to see how like the community kind of comes together, like your gym kind of comes together, pushing everyone to new heights and like new achievements in not just fitness, but I mean like I don't know. There's a lot of different variables. I mean, physically everyone's getting better, which is kind of cool to see. But then like the mental capacity of everyone, like I'm gonna basically push into the suck a little bit more and like just go to a whole new realm of hurt.
Yeah, it is fun because it informs your training for the next year and
hmm
kind of what you should be focusing on. And I do like that they're doing a lot more of just like the basics over
hmm
the past few years rather than high level, high skill, high weight
Very
type of
technical.
movements.
Yeah.
Um, which of course we can discuss like pluses and minuses with all that stuff too.
hmm
Yeah, the basic premise of the Open for those who aren't participating in it or haven't is to be an inclusive activity um, to bring in everybody to CrossFit, have us all do one community workout 3 consecutive weeks in a row. You can do it between Thursday and Sunday and submit your score, and
hmm
then you get ranked globally based upon your fitness of those 3 workouts.
hmm
And then, of course, if you're good enough, you advance to quarterfinals. And if you're good enough there, semis, then games. So it's kind of the pyramid up of the season from basic to elite.
hmm I remember you remember back in the day when they used to have like regionals and um all the different things that remember the open used to just be you get to the point in the open where like they throw that one technical workout, just kind of like weed people out. Like either it's the muscle ups, snatches, or it was I remember think one year it was like muscle ups and no, it was like double under. There was one technical one where it was like some gymnastics movement that just took a lot of people out. And you just saw like where everyone was like, "Oh, I'm so highly ranked," and then all of a sudden that one technical movement would just you're down.
They
You're
do like handstand walks and weight as a separator.
yeah.
But yeah, that typically was when it was like the 5 week version. I would
Mhm.
say now that's probably more reserved for quarterfinals. Um, but yeah, so I think that they've definitely done a better job of making it inclusive, and I do think that like the 5 was a bit overkill.
What five? Sorry.
The like 5 week open.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I thought the 3 week was a good change.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of interesting that they even made the change to begin with. I used to like regionals and all of that, and had kind of like a playoff kind of feel. Um, I mean, it still is kind of like a playoff feel with quarterfinals and things like that.
Your semis kind of take the place of regionals.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. Um, but yeah, 3 week open is really nice to have. Um, maybe I'll have to do it up. I'll be teaching actually this weekend in Cleveland, so I'm kind of curious. Maybe I'll have to stop over at Crooked River and drop in. But no, so the open, like we already said, it's a great time to kind of push your fitness and see where you kind of stand after a year worth of training. Um, some things to think about, like if you're new to the open, would be um, kind of take a look at what the prescribed weights are and kind of see is this close to where I am in terms of my training? Oh, got a thumbs up there. Cool. Um, like I always like people going into the open with an open mind of even if you're not capable of doing the prescribed weights, you can still do the workout. You just need to modify the weights or maybe the movements to what you're capable of and not trying to push beyond a point of like an ego trip where you're trying to do what everyone else is doing. This should be
Yeah,
more along the lines of like what you're physically capable of and what actually will fit like what the stimulus is supposed to be. So like
th-
just because the
this is
weight
always why I'm hesitant to like start somebody with the open too.
exactly. Yeah.
Like if you don't have like some sort of like base training volume,
Mm.
understanding how things are written. So for a complete newcomer, the open may not be the best time to join. However, they do get a lot of members after because of the communal aspect to it. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, I guess, if you will.
Yeah. It's good to see. Um, the one thing I would say is that when people kind of jump into the deep end right away, I mean, sometimes you're asking for a realm of different issues, whether if it's like I think there was one year we had like wall walks, or last year was like wall walks and snatches, and like if you don't have a whole lot of shoulder strength to begin with, and you're gonna go walking up the wall like that, then you're gonna go try to do a heavy snatch. Maybe not the greatest thing for your shoulders overall. The other thing to think about would be your overall training age. If you don't have some of these movement patterns down to a great degree, maybe learning them first and then learning how to build the intensity might be worth it first instead of trying to get as many as possible. Um, and obviously, this is also going to be more like under the watchful eye of your coach, or so we hope. I know a lot of the gyms that we both go to, both have pretty darn good coaches who are going to watch and can put people in the place for success so that they can do that in the right way, but also the safe way. Um, I mean, just even from being in Free to Point last year during the Open, it was so much fun to watch everybody pushing one another. But then also just seeing like the modifications or like the critiques from the coaches that you would see them like interacting with all the different members, throwing things at them that would both challenge them in a safe way or like, hey, like you can definitely do that movement. You shouldn't be doing this scaled. Or you know, like for myself, I know I probably wasn't going to be able to do, gosh, what was it last year? Like all the heavy snatches, I know I wasn't going to do that. So I just basically did the scaled version for that workout, and I was totally fine doing that. I hadn't been having a whole lot of training in CrossFit during that time, and so my mind was, I don't really need to be pushing this right now. It's not in my
Yeah.
long goals. You know what I mean?
I guess for those of us who like are more experienced too, you kind of have to decide whether you want it to be for function or for sport, right? So when you talk about sport, safety kind of goes out the window. If you're looking to post a score, You kind of just have to go through it, be smart, pick your spots, and if it's something you're not proficient at, then you have to figure out a way to just get it done or pace yourself accordingly. So
Mhm.
if you're just looking to do it to participate versus compete, participation, obviously, you have options and you can do it and scale it smartly. However, competition, it just kind of is what it is. Meet the standard or don't. And if you don't meet the standard, go whole off season and work at it.
Yeah, just be smart, have fun with it. I mean, it's a time to compete, but at the same time, it's a time to compete with yourself. As much as I want to beat the person next to me, if they're a hell of a lot stronger than I am, I'm probably not going to go doing those heavy, 225 plus snatches, and I'm totally fine with that. It doesn't match what I want to do, as much as I really want to. I mean, long-term training, I'm not going to go trying to force anything. Uh, that's come with some learning curves here and there. Um, I remember the one year we had was snatches and bar muscle ups, or it was like pull ups, chest to bar pull ups, and then muscle ups to finish, and then there was like an escalating snatches, I think. I'm trying to think, that would have been like 2016, 2015. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I did something a couple years ago with thrusters. I was similar to that too.
Yeah. And then there was the one with the dumbbell, hang dumbbell cleans, toes to bar, and a rower, I think. Um, Pretty sure. I'd have to look back at it all. But those are always just so much fun to kind of look back at. And then also like going back into like training down the months, years, and kind of compete against yourself again and read basically seeing how you scored compared to that time in the open compared to when you just did in training. Um, so yeah, let's besides just the open, let's kind of talk about some metcons and like when people are utilizing the prescribed weight versus like maybe they need to start using like more personalized percentages for maintaining the actual stimulus of the workout, right? So like let's use um we'll use one of my favorites, Fran, right? So any workout can be infinitely scaled, which is the wonderful thing about exercise in general, CrossFit in that included. Um, so one of the things about Fran is that there's the 95-pound barbell, and then you have pull-ups, right? So the one thing about Fran is that maybe you have someone who is brand new to CrossFit, does not necessarily have a great base of training volume wise, but then also maybe being able to tolerate moving at a high speed with a barbell, and then also maybe not a whole lot of pulling capacity being on the pull-ups. Am I going to go throwing them right underneath a barbell with a 95-pound weight? No, probably not, right? So like what I've kind of had people think about is like if you're doing like a one rep max thruster, right? That we did that last year in the open too, I think. Um
It was a part B, I believe.
yeah, and we did like a 2 rep max, I think. Or was it 3? I can't remember. I just know we did a thruster max. Um, but if you can only do so much weight and 95 is getting up there into like the 85 and 95% of maybe what that mountain rep max would be for a thruster, that maybe is not something you want to be utilizing for a metabolic conditioning, right? For a metcon. You want to be able to consistently move to maintain the actual conditioning stimulus that you're trying to be getting out of that. So if your weights are crushing you and you are dying after the first, 5 or 6 reps and you're in the 21 reps of that beginning workout, you're
Which
missing the boat altogether. And so thinking about that,
backtrack that a little bit. So your rep scheme there is 21-15-9 with the couplet, which
yes.
in your head says this should be 3 to 5 minutes and it should hurt. So going back to like what you're saying,
Mhm.
if this is 85% of your winner at max, this obviously isn't repeatable.
Correct.
So you are going to stall out in the round, get time capped, possibly be exposed to like more injury risk, etc. But
Hmm.
these should be broken up probably each time a max of twice,
Yeah.
like through each round.
Hmm.
So if this isn't in the ballpark, forget about it. But I don't know. Let's talk about like good percentages.
Hmm. Yeah, let's
40
break
to
it down.
50% typically is kind of what I think is what those should kind of be functionally for people.
Yeah.
Maybe lower.
Consistent movement. consistent movement. You shouldn't have to, if you're putting that bar down 4, 5, 6 times in a round, it's too heavy for you. And your conditioning is probably not going to improve because of that. It's a
Yeah,
completely different
or the
stimulus.
skill,
Or the
right?
skill. True, that as well. But I'm saying like if they have the thruster mechanic down and we're not limiting it down to just the form, it's more like the loading basis of things. And the 95 pounds is excessive for them, then there's going to be no way. Kind of going into like you're saying like 45 to 50%. So like if let's say if we have if your one rep max for the thruster is 100 pounds, 40 the bar might be enough for you for that workout, right? Um, hypothetical. If their one rep max is truly only like 100 pounds for a thruster.
Yeah, and of
We can
course,
never.
like you're gonna have mechanical insufficiencies and all that stuff in this scenario, but for argument's sake, yeah, barbell could be enough to get that intended stimulus.
Hmm. But then if you get in, like, let's pick another workout. So like frame would be one thing to kind of think about. Pull-ups, gymnastics wise, is a whole different conversation. Um, because you can break that down skill wise. I feel like the pull-ups, kipping pull-ups, that's a whole skill development compared to moving a barbell. Um, what would be another good one for us to maybe talk more about on with like using percentages? Diane could be another one. Um, and like the
Sure.
dead.
I was kind of like arbitrarily doing, let's just say it's 5 rounds for time,
Hmm.
20 cows on the bike, 10 burpee box jump overs, 5 power cleans, 225.
Hmm.
So this stimulus is obviously completely different from the first one we talked about,
Hmm.
where your time domains might end up being closer to 3 minutes a round, 4 minutes a round, relative to a 4 minute total.
Hmm.
So naturally, with this, your intent out of the gate is very different. Once again, just because those power cleans are prescribed at 225 or 185, this kind of speaks more towards possibly having between 60 and 70% of your one rep max is kind of what they're trying to do here.
Hmm.
So then that way you can move through a heavy barbell proficiently under fatigue, but not fail repetitions.
Correct.
Right. So this is kind of working on your power development after being pre fatigued deep into different rounds.
Hmm.
But the way that you write stuff should kind of dictate your intent, especially like, the open is going to be, I think this one is going to be more of your burner. So this one, there's not really much to do other than hurt. There's probably going to be some 15-minute AMRAP or longer duration workout in the near future. But yeah, your setup from the front there should kind of be I'm going to go out at about 80%, try to move through these cleans efficiently, possibly up up ramp as like you get past round three, and then try to sprint to the finish. But yeah, you can see how those two intents are just very different.
It's gonna be crazy to kind of see what they all come out with this year for 2024. Because now that they've done the 3 workouts, I mean, they'll usually try to break it down and have particular movements hit in each workout, or so I've seen over the last few years. So like we're taking away dumbbell snatches right out of the gate, lateral burpees over a dumbbell. Um, I'd be curious to see what all the standards are. I'll have to watch this later. I'm really curious to see how it all is. Um, because I remember there was the one year so many people were getting no rep for the dumbbell snatches just because they were placing their hand on their thigh, um, which did not go over well for a lot of people one year.
Apparently, you can do a single leg takeoff too, which is
Single
kind
leg.
of nice,
Hmm.
like with the burpees.
Yeah. Okay, I'll have to watch that again. I'm curious to see how that's all gonna go. I feel like when the standards are different every year, it just kind of change it up and kind of makes it a little bit more
Yeah,
interesting, a little bit more fun.
yeah, they do tend to be ever changing.
That is for sure. It is good to kind of see though. Um, variety is the spice of life. But what would be like some different things for the open? So like obviously we have dumbbell snatches and we have um burpees over a dumbbell. So like let's start talking more about maybe like a warm up for people or like um maybe getting into a little bit more about specifics of preparation for the open, like before the workout.
Sure. Like on this couplet,
Mhm.
um, yeah, so the first thing that comes to mind is this is a lot of hip hinging.
Mhm.
So I saw this get released and I immediately thought that people were just gonna blow up their backs. So doing something to kind of like get your posterior chain moving. So, you know, raise your core temperature with the bike, hit some like good mornings, the burpees, I'm kind of thinking like some push ups, maybe
Mhm.
some inchworms, but just kind of roll through a flow of something like that. So
Yeah.
that way you're jacking up your heart rate.
Mhm.
Another thing that people kind of recommend too is going through a round or two of the actual movements and just condensing the reps. So if you want to do like 2 or 3 rounds of just like 5 burpees, 5 snatches, and then just kind of like get used to using one arm versus alternating,
Mhm.
probably a good thing to do so you can check your standards as well.
I like that. I know. And if maybe not using the bike, if you wanted to work more on like that hinge, you could even maybe grab a rower, bike or rower, either way, get your core temperature elevated. But I think if you want to get on the rower, get more into the hinge position, kind of driving out of that, kind of working through that pattern. Maybe even did you say Band of Good Mornings? Yeah, you said
Yep.
that's what I thought. Um, if you wanted to, and you wanted to be a little bit instead of like a bilateral, you could go into maybe like a single leg good morning as well. Or if you wanted to get out some dumbbells and do an RDL. There's no like perfect warm up, right? And the best thing, like you already said, is to just do the workout itself at a lighter load or a lighter intensity, because you're going to be doing it at a higher load and higher intensity eventually. So you might as well prepare it in those same movement patterns and same movement mechanics. Um, so yeah, but I'd say if you wanted to, you could maybe do some lat stretching. You could do some RDLs, anything to prepare the posterior chain. Get the core temperature elevated. Don't go into it cold. Don't be dumb. Um, be smart. But
Yep.
there's
Just try to marry your movements and make them semi-specific and
Mhm.
then get more specific closer to the event.
Exactly. Exactly. Then if you want to, record what you did for the dynamic warm up beforehand and what you did and tag us in it. I'd be kind of curious to see. Because I guarantee you're going to see at least 50 or more different ways that people are going to be warming up. I mean, there's no perfect way. There's what way you need, um, which will be fun to see. I don't know. I always love the Open. The Open's always so much fun to watch people do. Um, but
Yeah, that's a good point. Like I feel like I just kind of show up and I would rather just kind of go. Like I really don't need that prolonged warm up, nor do I want to like coach people to need that either.
mm,
But yeah, some people are almost like pre-fatiguing themselves. They're doing so many warm-ups, or they're watching all these heats. They're already jacking like their heart rate up. They're kind of using their adrenaline, and then by the time they actually get to the workout, they've already like had the adrenaline dump, and they can't perform. Like
no.
so, it's a weird phenomenon where you almost like want to save it
Mhm.
specifically for the workout, and sometimes going in slightly underprepared is better than having been there and just gone through repetition after repetition and just like perseverating on it in your mind
Yeah, that's
because
like
they hurt. Like I only would want to do them one time.
you want
There's
to
not
3 more times for a better score.
no repeats are stupid, especially for somebody who would just get kicked out of quarterfinals. It's dumb.
Yeah, I know. Like there's one time, like when you're doing heats and you have multiple heats and like you get there at a particular time and like all the heats are taken until like almost the very end of it and you're like, well, I might go home for a little bit. And then just come back like an hour and a half later. Um, so yeah, I agree with that. Definitely don't go and try to do like an hour and a half or 2 hours of warm up. I would say watch some heats if you want to, but like don't go doing an hour and a half of warm up just to like stay
Yeah,
warm as an
like
approach.
1 to 2 max. Like
Yeah,
show up, see how it looks, go through your warm up, and then just go.
exactly. Exactly. And then just be smart about your warm up. Prepare as you need to. Don't like be starting like 30 seconds before the thing is about to go and you're like, oh, still need to warm up. Like give yourself 5, 10 minutes. You don't need a 25, 30 minute warm up. Like 5, 10 minutes of just those movements, get everything going, go into
And it's supposed to be fun, right? Right? Like none of us are good enough to be making money off of this, so
it.
just don't take it too seriously and
No, enjoy
perform
it.
to your current fitness level.
Exactly. Have fun with it. Enjoy it. It'll be fun. It'll be a blast. Is there a time cap?
15
Fif-
minutes.
15 minutes.
I think I saw Jeffrey Adler got it in like 6:20 today.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord. Dude's moving. That's crazy to think about.
But he is the fittest.
It's nuts to think about. 6 minutes. Jesus. Dude's moving. That'll be good. The Open will be awesome to watch. I'm kind of curious to see how everyone does. But if you guys have anything in like specifics you guys want to know more about for the Open or like as the Open workouts are released, and you guys want us to talk about it more, just let us know. Dave and I will give us our little our 10 cents and our spiel on maybe a warm up and maybe what to look out for. So obviously for this one, there's a lot of hinging. There's a lot of hinging. So get your hammies and glutes ready.
Yep. And the intent on this one is to hurt.
So
There's no technical failure. It's just all gas.
no breaks.
So, yep.
All
Other
right.
than blowing up your back, I really don't foresee much of this being an issue.
There's so much blood. It'll be good. No, have fun, everyone. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. But we will see you guys in the next episode.